Now we've all done this before, we're excited, it's brew day. You go to your hop store, you grab that packet of Citra, only to find there's 10 grams in and not 50. Or even worse, you go to grab that packet of Citra and it's not there, because you used it all up last time and forgot to reorder. Now there are loads of different pieces of software out there which can control your inventory. Here are a few examples. It is not a complete list, so please don't comment saying that your favourite software is not on screen. So back in the day, pen and paper was the way. Write down your inventory, how much you've got, strike it up a bit off when you've used it, if you remember. Most of the brewing software has limited functionality unless you want to pay. Now if you're like me and you don't like paying for software, especially that you don't use a lot, well, you can just use your little spreadsheet. So that's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, so first thing is to fire up Chrome. And we want to go to our, log in if you can. I'm logged into Hover-Dog, and we go to Sheets. If you can't go to Sheets, just go to Google Docs, and then from here select the drop down and select Sheets. If you already have an inventory or a file, you can go and select it in Google Docs. That's right, Google Drive. So click on blank because we're going to start a nice new spreadsheet today. So first of all, we're going to go through very simply what a spreadsheet is. Now, if you haven't used one, it'll be informative. If you know what a sheet is, just fast forward. So first thing you see are cells. So each of these little squares is a cell. So we have A1, B1, C1, and that's because the columns are ABCs and the rows are 1, 2, 3, etc. So C2, that's E13. You can reference these in your sheet, so G5. Get the idea, don't you? Back to A1. Spreadsheets also have tabs. Sheet 1 was loaded, and clicking the plus sign allowed me to add Sheet 2 and Sheet 3. These sheets are just literally different pages. What you can do in here and in Excel, if you're using Excel, you can rename them. So go ahead and rename Sheet 1 to be Stock. Rename Sheet 2 to be Hops References. You can call these what you like, these are just examples. It makes it simple when you're looking through calculations later. We'll rename our third sheet as Grain. So you could call those anything you like, it doesn't make a difference. So let's go ahead and populate our sheet. So click on the Hops References tab, and in A1 type name, that's a hop name. We're going to have purpose in B1. They're all in row 1, so just keep typing as per the video. So name is a hop name, the purpose will be bittering, etc. Characteristics, it could have something special. Alternative, the style guide, which is what the hop will be for, not pale bitters, etc. Then we can write down our alpha acid. I'll correct that in a bit. I'll go on do it now. Then we've got our beta acid. By the way, you type these in and just hit enter, or you can click the next cell and it will actually just complete. So we'll just fill in beta acid, Cahumeloid, whatever, I can't pronounce it, that word. And just for instance, we'll just type in a country. It's a bit of information. You don't have to have all these cells. So the next thing is we need to find some data. So I'll just get the second tab going. So I tend to get information from everywhere. This is just one site. It basically will list lots of hop names. You can search for them, and then you can display the details and copy that into our spreadsheet. Whilst I'm waiting for that web page to load, let's get back to our hop references, and I know Admiral is one of the hops in my freezer. So go ahead and type that in A2. It's a bittering hop. The page is loaded, so we can now go and find it. So Admiral, okay, we have some data, and we should have some characteristics. So let's just copy that characteristics data, and we can just Control V or select paste. I'll use the menu so you can see where we're from, but it's Control V. That's characteristics. We know it's bittering. What are the other fields we can glean from this site? Okay, so we know it's from the UK. And here is our alternatives or substitutes. So we'll copy that back into our sheet, move to the correct cell, and Control V or right mouse and paste. So 5 more fields and we are done. If you grab the little line between the 2 cells, you can drag it to make it the right width, or you can double click it just like that. It'll auto size it. Now I am running at a low resolution for YouTube so you can see it, but normally this would fit on a decent monitor. So let's grab more data. Style guide, because that is always the same. Paste. And we know it's from the UK. Okay, so the last 3 columns, F, G and H, will all be different for your hop. For different years we'll have different values, so we can't fill those in until we've actually got our hops from the supplier. So click on the stock tab and we're going to start adding our real inventory. Now I use something called bag. I just write the number of a bag on the bag, so I can say it's bag 20. I can go and find it. It's up to you. You don't need it. What you do need is your hop name, the amount, and a Europe, so I use grams, but it could be ounces. Leaf or pellet. Purpose. Again, is it bittering or aroma? We'd like to know the alpha, so we can use a brewing calculator. Year harvest is always good. When I can spell. Best before the end. Where did I get it from? Just this. You don't need all this information. It's just handy. Yeah, where did it come from? And an alternative. Supplier might be Brew UK, source might be Charles Farnham or something like that. So let's go to cell A2 and run equals 1. That means bag 1 equals just means the data will appear as a value, it's not text. Type in Admiral, 100 grams, it's leaf. Now it auto completed, so just watch out for that leaf. Now this is a clever bit. Type this in very carefully. We're going to start doing something called a vlookup. So it actually has the commands. So search key, what do you want to look up? I'll explain this a bit more, but what do you want to look up? We want to look up B2 because that's the hop name. Next, the range. Where will we find this information? Of course, that information is on our hops reference. So using the mouse, you can now select where you want to search for that information, and you should search all of these fields. Okay, I'll just go down a bit like that. That's for now. We can correct it in a second when we're back on our stock. Okay, now there are some more fields in here we need to add. So I'm back on my stock, put a comma. Now this is the index, so it's actually index 2. That means it's a second field we're looking for from the left. Okay, and the last one is basically if it can find the nearest, it'll be true or falses, basically. So it's gone ahead, it's just found that the purpose was actually bittering, which is quite good. We didn't type that in, it looked in this sheet and found it automatically. Admiral is a bittering hop, and that's filled in our stock sheet. So let's move to F2, whatever the packet says. Mine's 16.2. The year, very old, these 2013. Let's get that typed in. 19, no, that's this year. I'll leave it 2019. Yeah, best for next year. Well, this year actually now, 2020. Where did I get it from? Well, where did you buy it from? You know, I picked it off my own tree. Source. This is my source, as in where did it come from? And alright, it was Brew UK because I didn't know. But you could have a supplier, might be Brew UK, but they bought it from somewhere else. And the alternatives. So another VLOOKUP. What do you want to look for? Well, it's an alternative, so we need to look for Admiral. So you click B2, comma, over to our hops reference tab, and we need to select another range. It's the same range, it's A to D, and then just any range down the screen, doesn't matter, comma. Now it's actually the fourth one along, so B, C, D is 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 across, so it's 4, and it's false again. Hit return. So that's basically just looked in the hops reference and it's picked out, it knows those alternatives are for Admiral. So you may have more than 10 hops or whatever, but when you scroll down, hold on, the header disappears. Oh right, okay. So scroll to the top, and we're going to freeze the top line. Okay, so click into view, freeze, and click one row. That's going to freeze the top row of our sheet, only this sheet. So now when we scroll down, it's actually kept our header. We scroll back up and the data's still there. Perfect. So this is our first line of our inventory. Now let's just copy that, and I'm going to paste it into our second row, oh sorry, third row. Oh, but wait, we've got a 1. We want the bag to be incremental, so let's put number 2 in there. And hold on, oh look, it's broken. Yes, this is a feature of spreadsheets. So we need to do a bit of fixing on our spreadsheet. So if you click the cell E2 and move the cursor so it says A2, and we want to change that to $A $2, and then the next bit $D $16. What that means is it'll have a fixed range, so it won't, when you copy and paste, it won't increment it. And let's change the alternatives again. So it's a fix to A2 to D19. Okay, it'll always look in those cells. So we copy those again, and we shall place that. Copy and paste into B3. And that's fixed it, so bittering and the alternatives appeared. The next thing is we need to fix our range. What happens if you have more than 16 hops? So go ahead, alter cell E2, and so it starts at A2 and goes to D 1000. Let's say you have 1000 different hops in our hop reference. And then we can change the alternatives to be the same. D 1000. Return. So again, we can copy these cells. I'm doing it the long way, I'm just copying them individually. We could have copied the whole row. Paste. Okay, right. So whenever we put some more data in, it'll always have the right calculation. I'm just going to put values in here manually. You could put the one above, or equals the cell plus the one above, or +1. And also if you double click it, you can autofill. I just tapped them manually. Right, let's copy this row. And we're just going to select multiple cells and paste. So that's just 10 rows. Of course, we need to have more hop references. And I'm just going to freeze the top row so we get our headers again in our hop references, so we can scroll up and down. Let's add some more hops. I've just copied this from a cell you can't see, or a sheet you can't see. This is some of the references I've already got for my active hop inventory sheet. So I just copied these from different websites. So that is a reference. So what's in my shed? Well, I'll start looking to the pile, and we can get some real values in here. So I know I've got some Citra, and straight away it auto updated. It's a dual purpose hop, and it also updated the alternatives, so you can see it's working. So we need to fill in this sheet. So let's get some real data in here. So I've got another spreadsheet on my other screen, which I will copy and paste. This is my current live inventory. This is start of 2020. So you can really easily see it's working. Some old hops in there, look, very old ones. Okay, so you could do the same for grain. I won't repeat myself, but the grain tab is there. You could do exactly the same. You may not want to do the V reference, vlookups, but that is my slightly out of date, very out of date grain store, but you get the idea. Now we can save this sheet in our Google Drive. but it's going to store it as a file called untitled spreadsheet. So if you go to the top and click on the word untitled spreadsheet, we can rename this. Let's just call it hops, and that will store it in your Google Drive. There's my drive, so it stores its Google. Okay, hops. Yes, you can share it with people, you can send it to people, you can make it public available. There's a load of options in there. So quit out of Chrome. Let's just reopen Chrome to show you what it looks like for an existing file. I'm just going to go over here, drop down the 9 dots, go into Drive. Dum-da-dum-da-dum, come on. So in my drive, I now have a file somewhere called hops. There it is at the bottom left, even with a little preview. So if you select that file, double click it, it will open in another tab in Chrome, just as we left it. Every time you make a change to a cell, it will save it automatically, and you can actually use this offline if you wanted to. It will sync up when you get a signal. So let's say you're outside the Wi-Fi range, and then you move back into Wi-Fi range, it will sync up. And as this is a Google product, it'll sync across PC, mobile phone and tablet.
Well viewers, I hope you found that informative. At least if you've never used Sheets or Excel or there's loads of OpenOffice etc, then at least you've probably had an insight into some of the features, and it's very, very powerful features that you can do on a modern spreadsheet. So without further ado, I'm going to sign this video off and let you guys explore Sheets. Okay, so this is Mark from Vblog Brewery signing off, and as always, stay thirsty.